Many of our clients tell us that their dog does well with his obedience at home, but seems to forget what he learned when they're outside of their house. When you're out in the real world, things distract your dog. Smells, sights, and sounds take over the dog's focus, and he gets too busy to pay attention to you. This is why we love to use distractions during our advanced obedience training. In this video, we want to show you some of the ways that we use different distractions to help the dog advance in their obedience. If you think about it, we've already used some degree of distraction in our basic obedience training. For example, when we taught the dog to stay, we first taught the command by standing still, and then we started to move around a little bit. Moving around was a distraction. The dog had to choose to stay or move with us. To advance this training, we first increase the level of distraction that we can control. So we will work on different ways to distract the dog at home. So here are a few ways in which we can make our training more challenging and fun. While the dog is in a stay, we'll walk over to him, pet him, and love on him, and then we'll stop and just simply walk away. Now it's hard for the dog because he wants to follow the person. Apollo loves his tennis ball. It's his absolute favorite toy. So when we challenge him by putting him in a downstay and then toss the ball, it's pretty tough for him. He has to choose between really wanting to play or being in control and staying in the down. If we really wanted to make it challenging for Apollo, we'd toss the ball for Heidi while he all has to stay, but we're still working on that one. Food can be a very strong distraction for most dogs, so it's a great way to practice the recall. We'll try to recall our dogs from their food while they're eating. Apollo, Apollo, come. Good boy, come. No, Apollo, come. Good boy. You good dog. The next step is to use our obedience training outside of the home, where there are all kinds of smells, sounds, and sights that will distract the dog. The big thing is to remember that we now cannot control the type or the degree of distractions we'll encounter. The goal is that when we go out with the dog, it's all about him and the person holding the leash. Nothing else should matter. It's not that we want the dog to ignore the world around us, but we do want him to keep his focus on the handler. We'll just take the dog out at first to see what different types of scenarios we'll encounter. We'll take the dog to a nearby park where he'll be around other people, walking their dogs. There will be ducks and geese on the lake. First, it's about loose leash walking. That's the fundamental to all of our training. And then next, we'll try to ask the dog to sit while he's staring at the ducks. We might step off the path and put the dog in a downstay while others walk past with their dogs. This first outing is more of a fact-finding mission. It shows us if the dog gets super excited or super distracted. Now we can go home and work on a training goal. If the dog was highly distracted by the ducks, we'll spend more time on our next outing getting him used to that. Or if dogs were more a distraction to him, then we'll plan our outings around that distraction. It's important to remember that dogs are very one-track minded. This means that when a dog is focused on something, like the ducks at the park, the focus takes over. He totally tunes out the rest of the world. To get the dog to change this focus, it's best to move. Since we teach all the dogs that they have to follow and can never pull on the leash, the moment we walk, the dog starts to break his focus away from the distraction, and now we have some of his attention. If the dog is torn between focus on the birds and the handler, we simply walk further away from the ducks. Once the dog focused again on walking with us, we can work him in some easy commands, like the sit, for instance. Preferably, we would be at a distance where the dog can still see the distraction, like the birds, but is now focused on the handler. In this way, the dog learns to be around the distraction, but pays attention to the person with the leash. This, of course, is not a one-time training session. Working with distraction takes time and patience. Although we cannot control all the distractions we may encounter, we can always plan our outings on teaching the dog and choose areas with fewer distractions, like quiet streets or parks, versus a busy area. The important thing is that at this point, we are planning our outings around teaching our dog. Once the dog is accustomed to all different kinds of distractions, he will become a well-behaved companion, and then we can take him on our daily adventures. Thank you for watching. We hope that you are having fun teaching your dog. Until next time, keep your paws on the road.